All right, let's talk about one of the most popular ways to make your crypto work for you, liquidity pools. But here's the thing, there's a huge catch that separates the pros from, well, everyone else. And it all boils down to this one powerful, almost invisible force that we're about to pull back the curtain on. So, you want to earn those big, juicy yields in crypto, right? I mean, who doesn't? It's kind of the dream. And it feels like every single day there's some new, shiny way to do it. And for a ton of people, the go-to answer is liquidity pools. They seem simple, they promise great returns, they're everywhere. But here's the secret most people miss. They're jumping in at the absolute worst possible time. And boy, is it costing them.
Okay, so first things first, let's quickly get into what makes these pools so darn appealing in the first place. What are we actually talking about here?
Think of a liquidity pool as just a big digital pot of money. You, the provider, come along and deposit a pair of assets. Let's use Solana, or SOL, and a stablecoin like USDC. Now, that pool of funds lets other people trade SOL for USDC and back again. And for providing that service, that liquidity, you get a piece of the trading fees. Pretty simple, right?
Now, if you want to get a little more advanced, there's this thing called concentrated liquidity. It's kind of the pro-level version. Instead of just letting your money be used at any price, you say, hey, I think most of the action is going to happen in this specific price range. You focus your capital right there, and because it's being used more efficiently, you can earn way more in fees. Higher risk for sure, but the potential reward is much bigger.
Okay, so earning fees, concentrating your liquidity, it all sounds fantastic. But this is where we get to the hidden risk. Is your capital really as safe as you think it is?
I mean, that's the bottom line question, isn't it? If I put my hard-earned crypto in here, can I actually walk away with less than I started with, even after collecting all those fees? And this is where the marketing pitch and reality kind of slam into each other. The promise you'll hear is, don't worry, your capital's safe. It just shifts from one coin to the other. But the reality, well, it's a lot messier. You've got this thing called impermanent loss. It's a fancy term for when you would have made more money just by holding the two assets in your wallet instead of putting them in the pool. And on top of that, there's the very simple, very real risk that one of your assets could just, crash. So here's what happens. If one of the assets in your pair starts to tank in price, the pool's algorithm automatically sells the good one to buy more of the bad one to keep things balanced. You end up holding an increasingly heavy bag of the losing token, and trust me, the fees you're earning are almost never enough to make up for that kind of value drop.
But here's the real kicker. As bad as all that sounds, it's not even the biggest risk you're taking on. No, the biggest risk is this invisible, massive force that controls the entire market. And to really get this, we've got to zoom way, way out and talk about something called global liquidity. This is the tide that lifts all boats or leaves them stranded on the beach.
So what on earth is it? Simply put, global liquidity is just the total amount of money sloshing around the entire world's financial system. It's the cash, the credit, the capital, it's the fuel for the financial markets. When there's lots of fuel, things go up. When the fuel dries up, things go down. And the connection to crypto couldn't be more direct. It's almost a perfect one-to-one relationship. When global liquidity is expanding, money floods into risky assets, and crypto absolutely pumps. But when that liquidity starts getting pulled out of the system, crypto falls hard. It's really that simple. So let's think about it. What happens when this global liquidity hits its absolute peak? Well, it means the maximum amount of money is already in the game. It means risky stuff like crypto is trading at sky-high prices. And it means a huge correction, or a nasty downtrend, is not just possible, it's highly likely. This is how bull markets die.
And that brings us to the single most important sentence I'm going to say. Entering a liquidity pool right as global liquidity is peaking is the absolute #1 riskiest time to do it. You are, quite literally, buying in at the very top.
So how do you avoid this massive trap that catches so many people? Well, the pros follow a pretty simple playbook. Let's walk through their 3-step strategy for timing this whole thing. Let's just paint a picture here. Imagine you jump into that SOL/USDC pool when Solana is flying high at $180 a coin, right at that market peak. Then the music stops. Global liquidity starts to contract, and SOL plummets down to $120. Now you get hit with a devastating double loss. First, your SOL is just worth a lot less. And second, you've got that nasty impermanent loss on top. The fees, they're not even going to come close to covering that kind of damage.
So here's the pro strategy. It's beautifully simple. Step 1, if you see liquidity is falling, stay away. Just don't touch liquidity pools. Wait it out.
Step 2, when liquidity has hit a bottom and starts rising again, that's your green light. That's the best risk to reward moment to jump in. And finally, step 3. When you see liquidity peaking, when it's super high, it's time to go. You exit your positions, you take your profits, and you get out before the fireworks start.
Now, I know what you're thinking. This all sounds great, but how am I supposed to know what global liquidity is doing? Well, I'm going to give you your new secret weapon, the exact tools you can use to track this stuff yourself.
And honestly, it's way easier than you'd think. On Twitter, you can follow accounts like @GlobalM2. You can just pop GMI Global Liquidity Index into a search engine. Or if you're a chart person, just go to TradingView and look up the Global Liquidity Proxy. These will give you a real-time look under the hood of the market.
And the rule of thumb is dead simple. When you see these charts making a big round top, when they look like they're peaking, that is your signal. That's your alarm bell telling you to be super cautious. It is not the time to be opening new LP positions. It's the time to be thinking about closing the ones you have.
So there you have it. You now know the secret that guides the smart money in this space. The next time you see the market going absolutely wild and everyone is screaming for joy, you'll know to pull up that chart. So the only question left is, will you ever look at a market peak the same way again?